Hey folks, Propelio Academy. This is the insurance course. I'm your host, James Jenkins. We are now in episode 11, Commercial Property Insurance Fundamentals. If you haven't already checked out episodes 1 through 10, make sure you see all of it. This course is designed to be progressive and build on itself from episode 1. We're trying not to repeat ourselves as much as possible. So those of you guys that are binge watching this whole thing don't want to shoot me by the time we're done with episode 13. So let's jump right into episode 11, Commercial Property Insurance Fundamentals. You want to be a well-informed landlord. That's really what it comes down to when we're talking about this episode here. One of the biggest causes, the biggest reasons for an unpaid claim and a really ticked-off client is the commercial landlord does not understand what the tenants are up to, and you're not holding them accountable to good risk management practices. If you want to be properly protected as a commercial landlord, you really need to stay up on what your tenants are doing and hold them accountable to be smart about their insurance and their risk so they don't expose you to something you're not prepared for. So in your lease agreement, you need to require them to list you as an additional insured lessor on the policy. And you need to also get them to provide you a hold harmless agreement and a waiver of subrogation in your favor. We talked about both hold harmless agreements and waivers of subrogation in a previous episode. So please check that out for more detailed information. In that lease agreement, you're going to want to include language so that any of their business activities that they have not previously disclosed to you will be their problem to fix when something bad happens. So if they didn't tell you that, oh, by the way, I'm running a taxidermy shop and a tanning salon out of the unit that I rent from you, guess what? You're properly protected if you have taken the steps necessary to make sure that that door to potential liability and financial loss is closed. The last thing you want to do is get caught up in someone else's lawsuit. Please be careful. The other thing you want to be aware of in multi-occupancy buildings, if you're in a commercial strip center or an office building, you want to be very careful with vacancy clauses. It will differ by company. 65% is generally the magic number. If your occupancy is higher than 65%, most carriers will not trigger the vacancy clause and pull out a lot of coverage. Like we talked about previously, the one that always hits home the most is the sprinklers and the theft and vandalism. And in wintertime, you're going to have the freezing pipes and the collapse from weight of snow and whatnot. It doesn't really matter that much in Texas, but if you're watching this elsewhere in the country, collapse from weight of snow is one of the things that's usually pulled off in the event of a vacancy clause. So make sure you know what those clauses are for the policy that your agent or broker sets up for you. And a lot of companies have been pretty punitive with what they take away in the event of a vacancy clause getting triggered. So please make sure you understand that. Ask your agent or broker if you don't have a clear understanding of that. Vendors and service providers also pose a big problem. You got to want to make sure that every regular visitor to your premises is able to provide you with a certificate of liability insurance. And you're going to also, like we talked about way back when in the program, I forget which episode it was, you're going to want to call their companies and verify coverage. I just remembered it was episode 5. So check it out if you want to talk more about contractual risk transfers. That's episode 5. Every regular visitor to your premises needs to have insurance in place because let's say you've got a delivery person and they leave a hand cart out and someone trips over it. If you don't have certificate of insurance from that delivery person, guess what? You're the one paying that claim. And you don't want to do that. You want to pass that on to the vendor and service provider if at all possible. This also includes maintenance, service, supply, inventory, transportation vendors, loading and unloading. All of these categories present a potential risk that you need to be aware of. If you are not actively controlling it somehow, like you don't want to mess with your vendor relationship by requiring them to provide you with that certificate, if you don't want to hold them to that standard of accountability, then just know ahead of time that is going to be your responsibility if and when something goes sideways, and make sure you are building that into your risk management plan so you can have adequate cash reserves so you don't disrupt your business because something happened with a third party that you were not covering on insurance correctly. So make sure you watch the other videos that we've put in the series to get the full picture. There's a lot of fundamentally important things that apply across the board that we have not covered in this video. You're going to want to make sure you catch the other videos. Each of them are topics that build on each other. And if you have questions, you'd like to talk further about commercial property and anything that may be pertaining to your business, or maybe you're considering buying a commercial building and you've been residential up to this point and you want to talk about the insurance implications and ways to make smart risk management decisions with your commercial property purchase, please visit my website at jjairm.com/consultation to book your no-cost, no sales pitch, no pressure conversation with me, and you'll get all the information you need. I'll ask whatever your questions are and help you on your way. This has been the Propelio Academy Insurance Course episode, I think it's episode 10. Let's see. No, it's episode 11. Episode 11 is in the books, boys and girls. We'll see you real soon.